Thanks, Amy, and thanks everyone for joining us. Sorry I can't be up there in person. Galilee Energy, our aim is to be a major new gas supplier into the East Coast gas market. We have a very significant gas position on the East Coast in terms of gas resources, and we're located across three significant basins: the Galilee Basin, the Bowen Basin, and the Surat Basin. Our main focus over the last few years has been in the Galilee Basin. That has recently been identified by both state and federal governments as a key area to unlock in the nation's gas-led recovery. And our aim is to hopefully convert a large portion of our resource into reserves over the coming 6 months. We're very fortunate in the small cap space to be well funded. We've just had a recent capital raising and our cash position now is over $30 million. So we're well funded for the activities we want to conduct over the next 12 months. In our view, there is still a strong market for gas on the East Coast, and particularly over the last 12 months where we've seen quite a significant drop in activity by the major players. We think that the gas market is significantly short of gas supply, particularly as we move into 23-24. A brief glance at the directors. I guess both directors and management, we have an extensive background in coal seam gas and in conversion of coal seam gas resource to reserves over the years, and have worked in most of the major basins on the east coast of Australia for companies such as Santos, Origin, and Eastern Star Gas. We have a market cap of around 190 million, and as I said, we've got a very strong cash position with over $30 million in the bank at the moment. I won't talk too much on the East Coast gas because I'm sure every presenter has touched on this in their slides. Suffice to say, in our view, we think the market is structurally short and will be in a significant problematic area as we move from 23-24 onwards. We haven't seen the development of the undeveloped 2P reserves in this country over the last couple of years. So we need a lot of new gas supply into this market to try and keep the price at sensible levels. And hopefully a few of us smaller caps can be successful in supplying new quantities of gas into this market. If we look at our primary project, which is the Glenaris Gas Project, and this is an area that was early on identified as a sweet spot within the Galilee Basin. There's been a lot of exploration and appraisal activities over the last 10 or so years, and that's resulted in a strong understanding of the resource. We understand the coal, its thickness, its gas contents and saturations, and it's got significant productivity as well as a result of significant testing through this area. And that's the reason we've got such a large contingent gas resource. We have over 2,500 petajoules of 2C and over 5,000 petajoules of 3C. So our focus over the coming months is to try and convert a significant portion of that 2C resource, 2,500, into reserves and into commercial production. One of the big positives, and it's always one of the great challenges in our industry, is to make sure we have good stakeholder relations, both at federal, state, and also local council and landowner areas. This is an area where we have got a strong relationship with the local environment. We're very fortunate in this particular area. The Galilee Basin sits within flat, open grazing country, and most of the farmers here have 50 to 100,000 acre properties. So you're not on landowners' doorsteps and you're not interfering with intensive agricultural operations. So it's a much easier area to work. And the area, as you can see from the slide on at top there, it's very open, flat country. So easier to develop this particular area for coal seam gas. One of the big opportunities we have in this area, and one of the big advantages, is the water quality. Coal seam gas always involves water production as we dewater the coal to produce the gas. We're very fortunate here that the water in this particular coals within the Betts Creek section is very low salinity, only about 1,200 parts per million. So it can be used for a lot of irrigation projects and other agricultural opportunities. And that is one thing we've jumped on pretty quickly. We've put a centre pivot irrigation system, which is now in full operation, and we're growing our first crop out there at the moment, which is forage sorghum, and it sits nearly a foot high now. So we're very excited. This is using direct produced water from the wells and going straight onto the ground. So very excited about the opportunity that presents in terms of providing a real new supply source of water for landowners. This is an area that's seen a lot of drought over recent years, and allows landowners in the area to better livestock management during these prolonged drought areas. We also have approval for an aquifer recharge project, and we are moving forward with installation of an RO unit to trial that as well in the coming months. In terms of the coal seam gas project as well, the Galilee Basin in particular permit in the Glenaris gas project has excellent coal seam gas properties, some of the best we've seen in Australia. We have 20 metres of coal, 5 cubes per tonne, so the resource concentration is excellent. We have good productivity through the coal, and I think we've clearly demonstrated that over the last couple of years with our pilots, with an average permeability of about 45 millidarcies. What we haven't been able to achieve yet is to get commercial gas production, and that has been a result of not being able to really draw down the pressure in the coal below critical desorption pressure. And that's something we've learned a lot about over the last 6 months within this particular project. I guess over the last couple of years, we've been targeting a single coal within the Betts Creek section, the R3 coal, and we've done a number of lateral wells through that coal to try and focus on bringing that coal below critical desorption pressure and achieving commercial gas flow. 5 laterals have been drilled. While they've performed extremely well and produced significant volumes of water, up to 6,000 to 7,000 barrels of water a day, we haven't been able to get our critical desorption pressure down below, our reservoir pressure down below critical desorption. We're very close, but we haven't quite got there. We've seen some signs of life with some gas flow rates, but not sufficient to book reserves. As a result of that issue, we drilled a monitoring well earlier in 2020, Glenaris 17, and that provided a fantastic understanding of what's been going on within the Betts Creek section, and helped us understand some of the earlier pilot results, and also help understand why our lateral pilot has not achieved commercial flow yet. What that showed is, while we were trying to draw down one coal within that sequence, the monitoring well showed that we're actually draining from the entire Betts Creek sequence, from the R1 all the way down to the R7. So while that presents different challenges in terms of we now know we were draining from a much larger area, it does help explain the reason why we've been producing such large volumes of water and haven't been able to get that pressure down. And one of the big advantages of this is that while we have got the pressure down a fair way, we're about 85% of the way towards critical desorption, we now know that we are draining all of the coals within the sequence. So a reserve booking on achieving commercial gas flow will be over that entire Betts Creek section from the R1 all the way down to the R7. All of that information from Glenaris 17 was put into a simulation model, and we got a third-party provider, Schlumberger, to conduct a simulation project over this particular area. Schlumberger looked at all the previous pilots that have been drilled, as well as our more recent lateral pilot, and they were able to achieve a successful history match of all of that pressure and production history within the area. What that showed is that we can achieve commercial flow out of this particular area, and there was a clear area where we were getting communication between the sands and the coals within the Betts Creek section. And this simulation work showed that we need to drill a series of vertical perimeter wells around the lateral pilot. They would enable us to draw the pressure down below critical desorption, be able to drain from the entire sequence, not just from a single coal, and that would allow the lateral pilot to achieve commercial flow, as well as being able to drain all the other coals within the sequence. So earlier this year, and we've just finished, in fact, we drilled 6 additional perimeter wells, Glenaris 19 through 23. It can be seen on the top diagram there in the presentation pack. And they now provide 6 wells, including the Glenaris 17 well, and they present a perimeter shielding of that existing lateral well. They are going to be completed over the entire Betts Creek section from the R1 down to the R7. So those 5 additional wells were drilled and completed in mid-September, and all of that drilling was done very successfully on time and on budget. We have now completed the first 3 of those wells, Glenaris 19, 20 and 23, and pump installations and surface equipment have been installed on those first 3 wells. And we hope to have those first 3 wells on in the next week or so. So we'll be having some significant communication and flow of news flow into the market over the coming weeks as a result of those first three. The next three will be connected in early December once we're waiting for some pumping equipment to come in from the States. So we're in a very good news flow period now. As I said, we'll have 3 wells on production next week with 3 more to come in early December, and that will now provide a significant additional depletion point on top of the existing lateral wells. The beauty of drilling lateral verticals around here is that we haven't had to shut in any of those wells. So we will have a total of 11 wells producing as of mid-December. One of the other things we've achieved during the 2020 is submission of potential commercial areas. This is an important next step as we move from exploration to production. And those 2 PCAs, 314 and 315, cover the entire contingent resource within ATP 2019 and really represents a massive step forward as we commercialise the Glenarus gas project. Our plan is to continue to grow, and that was one of the reasons for the expansion of our cash position and the capital raise recently, because all of our exploration has been in a very small area down around the Glenarus pilot area. We want to build that reserve booking out to Crossmore and up to Vera Park, and the focus of next year's attention will be on success of Glenarus, building our reserve position up into Crossmore and Vera Park with additional pilots and converting more of our 2C into 2P. I'll just touch briefly on our 2 other projects. Springsure is something we're very excited about. It's located up in the northern Denison. We've been watching with interest, and there'll be a presentation just before me on the Reedstone project with State Gas. They're getting some interesting flows out of that Reedstone coal in this particular area, and we believe we have analogous reservoir further to the north in our Springsure project. So our aim, hopefully in early 2021, is to drill some wells up in this particular area and conduct some seismic to further understand that particular area. We drilled some wells earlier this year in Cumberilla, and they gave us some fantastic information on the quality of the coals in this area, and we've just conducted a data swap with Shell in this area. This is located within the Walloons coals. There's a lot of production data here, and we hope that the data swap with Shell will give us some strong information on how we need to go forward in completion technologies to develop the Cumberilla asset. So there'll be some more news flow on that in the new year as well. So look, to summarise, we believe we're a strongly focused gas explorer. We've been very active this year with 10 wells being drilled. We've got a good cash position to continue that strong exploration activity. Our real focus here is on Glenarus and the Galilee Basin, and hopefully converting a large portion of that 2C resource into reserves and being able to supply a new and strong gas supply position into the East Coast market. Thank you very much.